We're back. Part three. We are in an inconspicuous classroom here that I found that is not in session for today. Uh, and I couldn't stay in the lunchroom because they're going to be, it's about lunchtime. They're going to get some heavy foot traffic in there. They don't want to hear about the big dick boys, I guess. Probably wouldn't be an appropriate lunchtime conversation there. We're going to continue on, march on with our next American League team here. New name for Dana, the overcompensating big dick boys here. This is the driving the lifted pickup truck version of naming your team, I suppose here. Dana, let's see if has he made any transaction since
The
the
famous one?
uh no, it's not since the draft.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, so nothing since the draft here. He acquired Bichette Machado, and Pepio, who's now on the injured list. Gave up Tyone, Bush, and Jimenez. Judging by what we've seen, Jimenez and Tyone, it's really just Bush for those three, in my opinion. So we'll kind of see how that works out. You like Bush as a top keeper, but he kind of paid the piper a little bit. So I kind of like the return maybe a little bit more on that, looking back at it, but.
You like the return for Dexter?
Uh, did he keep Pepio?
Yeah.
Did he keep Pepio? I kind of do, but too much salary. But we'll kind of see how that goes. You'd rather have Bush than those three?
No, I'd rather have Bichette and Machado than Bush. They're gonna definitely outperform
Yeah.
outperform them there.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, in a vacuum, yeah. But the salary with them,
Salary doesn't matter now, though. I
it
mean,
doesn't
really.
matter now. But that was a pre-draft. It certainly mattered on draft night.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we talked about all those already.
Yeah. So we'll go into Dana's team here. What as we take a gander here, what are you seeing out of Dana's squad here?
I think we're looking at one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. And I know I've liked his team in the last couple of years, and it's completely disappointed me. And it's like, what the hell's going on? But I just don't see how you can't like this team pretty much from top to bottom. I mean, this is when we talk about some teams being imbalanced, some teams have pitching, some teams have hitting, some teams have, this, that. I think this team has a little bit of everything. I if there was a huge concern for me, it is after Schoolball and Yamamoto, like what do we have? But I mean, if they get you 30 starts, you don't really need a whole lot more after Schoolball and Yamamoto. They are going to carry your team quite significantly. But I do think over time he could get a pitcher. I know he's got Chris Bassett and stuff like that coming back to Baltimore. We'll see what he can do. He was actually pretty solid for Toronto last year outside of the whip, but I'm a little worried after Yamamoto and Skubal. If one of them for some reason was to go down, I think the red flags would start rising. But from an offensive perspective, again, I don't really see any holes at all. I think from top to bottom, you're getting quality guys. I think almost any of these guys start on any roster for the most part. There's a tons of top 100 guys in this lineup. You got the superstars in Marte, Machado, James Wood. Is it missing like that clear cut like top 15 guy possibly? But I mean, you keep throwing Zach Neto in there. Again, Tyler Soderstrom at 84. Augustin Ramirez might be one of the best hitting catchers in the league already. So it's just really, really well rounded. And I don't think there's another rotation that competes with Skubal and Yamamoto in terms of at least a top two.
Yeah, but it's just such a big drop off after that. It's a massive drop off to his three, four, and five. And so yeah, sure, you have the one, two, but he doesn't really have the three or the four. I mean, a bunch of fives after that, if that, guys that shouldn't even really even be in rotations. I would argue there. I'm not as high on this team as you are. Yeah, I mean the pitching, sure, you got a great one, two.
Remember, you Savage and Pepio that were only out for like a week or two.
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of the difference there. Which so your Skubal Yamamoto 1-2. Yamamoto is going to be great, but is his ceiling 173 innings? Because if he's going to be pitching every 6 or 7 days, then is he going to carry the same workload as what you expect out of an ace? Maybe not. Skubal, you hope to get ace production out of him. And then, yeah, after that, I'm just not sold. I don't think Soriano's that good. 1.39 whip last year and a 4.26 ERA. That's not helping you with under a strikeout an inning. Seth Lugo, big time under a strikeout an inning and a 1.3 whip over 4 ERA. And Kikichi with 4 ERA and a 1.42 whip. So, like, sure, yeah, you have a good one too, but you didn't draft guys to kind of back it up there. You
Well, Pepio
Savage
and
was kind of
Savage.
we'll see what we get out of him. Had a high whip in his 14 innings last year, so came alive in the postseason. So he's going to need a big breakout year, maybe a rookie of the year out of him. Pepio, who was kind of touch and go a little bit last year, but for the most part, pretty solid.
Yep.
Pepio is a decent three, but if we expand that to like a 1, 2, 3, there's certainly better 1, 2, 3s than Skubal, Yamamoto, and then Pepio, and then 4 and 5. I'm not thrilled about either. Plus, I don't really know. Are we expecting a big year out of Bednar? Is he going to handle the pressure of being the Yankees closer? What was his actual numbers with the Yankees? 2.19 ERA,
Yes.
0.9 WHIP, so pretty solid there. Looks like he might be able to handle the pressure, the bright lights of Yankee Kingdom over there. But Garcia, who know? I don't know if he's the full-time closer. I don't. They're probably going to be committee at this point, so I don't know if there's going to be a guy worth having in your lineup either, and not a lot of pitching depth. From the lineup standpoint, it's going to be a solid lineup. It's going to be one of the best, but it's not the best. And I think kind of like you said, like there's not really a lot of sluggers here, especially when a lot of his like high salary guys aren't guys that hit like 35 bombs. They're guys that just kind of hit like 27, 28 bombs. And so like I wouldn't be surprised if a team like Justin kind of outslugs this team. There's not
Whoa.
really a lot of not really a lot of holes here.
Look at the stats from last year. He only has like one dude in his lineup under 20 bombs.
Yeah, but he also doesn't have any dudes in his lineup with more than 31. So he had two 30 home run guys last year, Rooker with 30 and Wood with
Oh
31.
man.
So like he like I say, just doesn't have like the match. So it all kind of balances out a little bit, but it doesn't really knock my socks off.
I think this
He
is probably the most balanced lineup maybe in the league. I
should
mean,
be pretty competitive in home runs, RBIs. He's weak in steals, I can tell you that much. So that's not really one of our fastest team. He looks like it's certainly a bottom half steals team. And if he's going to want to put steals in, it's probably going to end up costing him somewhere in the power department. That's going to kind of deplete him a little bit there. So I mean, does any of these guys hit 35 home runs? And if they don't, then he might not be like even a top three offensive team, especially if Steelers are going to drag him down a little bit. And I don't really think that it's a top three pitching team either. So, I don't know if it's like a top half pitching rotation, especially with, when you consider, I don't think these are really elite closers. So, we'll kind of see. I have Dana in the top half of the league. For what I see of the offense and pitching, I don't think it's like a bad pitching staff. I don't think it's a bad offense. It's a good offense. The I think the pitching staff is mid. But I'm not going to be as high on Dana's team because I do see kind of some flaws here with in the speed department a little bit and just with the overall ceiling of the offense there.
yeah, I think as long as you Savage and Pepio play, and they're supposed to be back in the next week or two. If Yamamoto and Skubal are your 1, 2, and you throw Pepio and you Savage in as your 3, 4, I mean they could just do what they did. Pepio can do what he did last year. You Savage can be, whatever if he comes close to what he did in the postseason. Obviously, that's a big question mark. But yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be perfectly fine. Like I said, the depth of pitching worries me. But I mean, how many teams really have much pitching depth in this league? I mean, there's just not many teams that have that. So anyone can go down, and a team's rotation looks pretty shitty. So yeah, no, I think this team's really, really solid. Again, I think the power is going to make itself fine. Everyone can hit over 20 bombs. I think Soderstrom easily has 35 home run potential. Machado's done it many times. He's hit over 30 home runs. Rooker, I think, has 40 home run potential. He hit 39 in 2024. Zach Neto is going to be a five-tool player. I just don't really see any weaknesses. I mean, again, these guys start on pretty much every single roster. Again, I know I'm
Brandon
a big,
Donovan shouldn't even be rostered. I don't know why that guy gets as much
what?
play and as much love as he does. He doesn't do anything. He gets on base a little bit. You can't find a guy that can get on base at a 350 clip. Like that's
You
not
got to
hard to
think he
find. He
played
doesn't
108.
steal. He
He
doesn't
played
hit for
100.
power.
He played 118 games last year on an awful Cardinals team and scored 64 runs. He's going to be hitting at the top of a Mariners lineup. How many runs do you think he's going to score?
So you get runs with single digit home runs and single digit steals. It's not
And
really,
if you fit the OB, I mean, he's the nine, but out of the 11 hitters in his lineup, Kyle, he's like the 10th best hitter. That's fine.
but I just Brandon Donovan would not be a starter on my team. I can tell you that much. So I wouldn't say every player here is a starter elsewhere.
You
Spencer
also have
Steer.
Jose Altuve at your
Yeah,
second baseman.
I'd much rather Altuve than Donovan.
I know you've been trying to trade Jacob Wilson a lot this
A
year, and
long shot.
you compared Jacob Wilson's numbers to Brendan Donovan's last year. You're putting Jacob Wilson in your lineup. Put their numbers up next to each other.
Well, Jacob Wilson is also a first year player, and I expect a little bit of growth out of him too. And Brandon
Not the
Donovan's
way
been
you're
doing it.
trying
He's
to trade him off,
he's 9 years old, or he's 29. He's been in the league for 4 years, and he's
Put,
basically done the
if
same
you
thing
put
every
up
year.
Brendan Donovan's numbers right next to Jacob Wilson's, they are identical. So for you to say you would not have Brendan Donovan starting in your lineup, I think is false.
Uh, Say that what you say that as you wish.
They're the exact same player.
Then there's a reason why that Jacob Wilson is drafted like 50 picks ahead of Brendan Donovan, despite all of
I'm
that.
sure. I'm not saying that Jacob Wilson doesn't have more upside. You're right, because he's a younger player. But if we're going off pure numbers last year, they were almost identical players.
Plus, we don't know if Brendan Donovan's gonna be able to see the ball in Seattle because a lot of guys can't see the ball in Seattle. So
Are we just making shit
we'll
up
kind of
now?
see there. Well, you're making shit up about lineup spots and whatever else too.
What the
So
fuck does it mean you can't
you
see the
know.
ball in Seattle? What does that even
There's
mean?
several players that hit the ball that cannot hit in Seattle that have been on the record. I think was it is it Teoscar? Was he in Seattle for a minute?
Yeah.
And uh Josh Naylor, and they say like the batter's eye there sucks and it's really hard to see. That's why their pitchers are so good.
That's why he just signed a mega deal with them, right? Because he can't see the ball in Seattle.
Was it? Oh, maybe it was Suarez. I'm thinking of then. Eugenio
I don't know, man.
Suarez.
I don't know.
Yeah, not him. Where like that's why their pitch is so good. It's hard to pick up the ball there on that batter's eye. Yeah, that's why. Look at their pitcher home
I,
and road splits.
I
They're
really didn't know
brutal.
you were such a stadium connoisseur there, and you
Yeah,
knew
well
all the
now you
players.
know. Now you know.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I'm not a big Brandon Donovan fantasy
Well,
producer
I
fan,
actually think
but
he's. I don't want to say the word breakout, but going from the arguably one of the worst teams in the league last year and having to pretty much carry a Cardinals offense to now being like the sixth guy in Seattle, I think you're going to see not his numbers jump, but I definitely think you're going to see a better year from him. Yeah,
we'll see. The bench is full of guys I don't like. I just like there's no real upside in any of these guys. I just don't know why these guys are like really rosterable. Sure they're like your $1 A guys, but like I'm at bench. I want guys with upside, not guys with like
I think O'Hearn's got some upside hitting in the middle of that lineup.
So I don't know. We'll see. What's Ryan O'Hearn's like career high in homers is 17. Is his career high in homers?
He's never been an
Nice.
everyday guy, really, very much
I
so.
mean, 470 at bats is not far off from that.
Yeah.
So
I think the
um,
Pirates lineup's going to be solid if he's hitting fifth in that lineup with everyone in front of him, Reynolds, Cruz, all those guys. I think it'll be fine. Yeah.
I'm just not a fan. So I don't see a lot of upside here. When it comes to a lot of different things here. So I just don't think this is like a ceiling team. Plus, we loved Dana's team all last year and he didn't come through.
That's true.
Poor management, whatever else. So I'm done giving him the benefit of the doubt. So he's going to be in my top half, but he's not in the top half of the top half. I'll tell you that much.
Interesting.
So that's kind of how I feel about that. All right, next we have Phil's team here. This is going to be a curious one here. You want me to take it or you want this one?
I don't think it's curious at all. I think it's obvious. So I want you to take it.
Okay. So when we look at Phil's team here, he's made looks like three trades actually since draft night. So he traded away Westberg for Vientos.
Huh?
Don't really love that just because I don't know. We'll see what Vientos does this year. But if he turns out to be a decent utility man and he kind of does maybe halfway in between what he did in 2024 and 2025, it might be kind of a little bit of what he needs. And he didn't realize Westberg was hurt when he drafted him, so he's just kind of looking to get off of him there. But I
Is
actually think
Westbrook out? The Westbrook's not out the whole year. It is a few months though, right?
maybe a few months. I mean, but it also could be one of those things where it's just like, oh, he's not back yet. Oh, he's not back yet. Oh, he's still not back yet. Kind of one of those kind of lingering injuries in a
Plus, I'm
way.
not sure if he can see the ball in Baltimore very
Yeah,
well.
exactly. The batter's eye, the brick wall in right field really
Yeah,
can
it's
have
tough
quite
out
the
there.
glare. If the game times are between 3 and 5 p.m., usually there's a glare that comes off the
Yeah.
brick off of in the hotel back there is going to be a problem for hitters.
Uh,
So I mean that one's fine. Not kind of a wash there, not really too
right. I agree.
distinguishable. The Langoliers for Garcia one. I don't really get this one. I mean, I like Garcia. I kind of don't. I don't know. The people are high on Garcia. I mean, he's being drafted like in the 50s in some drafts that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Langoliers ADP 72, Garcia ADP 64. So he gets the catcher there, which like I don't really like this as a catcher trade. I'm not paying up for a guy like Langoliers when catchers are kind of a dime a dozen here. So I wasn't really a big fan of this one. Do you think that would you draft Langoliers ahead of Garcia?
It's tough because I think they're so closely drafted that it really just depends on what you're looking for. I think Garcia is obviously going to be more of like the steals. Langoliers is going to be a little bit more of the the pop and a little bit more of the slugging. So it just depends on how you're constructing your team because I think overall Langeliers had a pretty solid year last year.
These trades were kind of made in conjunction. So I think what like because we have like Goodman who is kind of like a wash almost with Langoliers. Like Langoliers is a small upgrade over Goodman, right? So
Yeah,
really he turned Garcia into a small let's see here, in a slight upgrade at catcher into Riley Green here with Connor Lee early.
yeah.
So, I mean, did need the outfield, so he kind of addressed the need there. So, if we treat these in conjunction, do you think that this made Phil's team better?
I think so. Like I said, I think Phil had a lot of work to do, and I think I think we talked about this. Well, I guess we didn't talk about these couple, but I think overall it works. It works all right for him getting Riley Green. I think overall he's probably getting the best player in that deal. I think Hunter Goodman's obviously put up a show last year, but Riley Green is definitely the best player in that deal, in my opinion, for sure.
If you combine both, I actually might think Garcia is the better. I think Garcia might be better than Green. Garcia is a curious case. People are rising on him like I'm hot and cold on him at the same time. I just like, people are going to say he's going to hit 25 home runs and steal 35 bases, and he's going to, with the fences moved in with the Royals, and he's going to hit leadoff for him. He's going to score a ton of runs. His OBP is going to be good and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to kind of be like another breakout for him, based on what he did last year.
Only
I,
26, it's possible, and he played
um,
premium position in second. So
Yeah, so the positional flexibility certainly helps. And then 16 homers, 23 stolen bases, but he had 37 stolen bases the year prior. I don't really know why that was a little bit of a downtick. So a big jump in OBP. So yeah, if you can get to 20 home runs, that maybe bumps up to 85 RBIs,
yeah,
100 runs scored, maybe if the Royals lineup takes a leap with Vinny P back full time and Pat, what's his name? Their new outfielder. So you're fine here. Um, Hey, how are you? So with that, you have your uh who am I thinking of? Who's the right fielder? Chad's right fielder.
that Caglione, are you talking
Yeah,
about?
Caglianone is who I'm thinking of there. Yeah. So it maybe their lineup's a little bit better and it breaks out, but I just like I don't know. It's like it's not like there's a big ceiling potential there for home runs or RBIs.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of see. Overall, it's okay. He had to do what he had to do to get an outfielder, but overall his lineup seems like a little bit flawed and it didn't really move the needle one way or another for me.
No.
It's just kind of mostly lateral in a way that didn't really make a whole lot of sense for me, especially when he's now going to be thin on speed. So, looking here at what we have here, team that is certainly a little bit thin on speed here. He's got really two primary stolen base threats. Maybe if Doyle stays in the lineup, it's three. But Story's not going to stay healthy throughout the year. He's not going to steal 31 bases again. Tucker, we'll see how active he is on the base pass if he's able to stay on the field. And after that, there's really not much with Doyle, a little bit on the bench and Robles. So that's a weakness. OBP is putrid on this
Yeah.
team. There's several guys with sub 300 OBPs, and that's
Yeah.
below your Mendoza line there. So it's going to be a bottom feeding OBP team. It's going to have light speed. There's a little bit of pop, but not even as much pop as some other teams when there's so many guys in this lineup that just aren't going to hit 25 home runs. And even your guys like Bregman, who you're devoting salary to, aren't going to be 30 home run guys. So there's going to be a big weakness in this offense. And what we have here, the pitching I think is really good, but I don't think that like you can fix pitching with like one good breakout pitcher usually, and then just everybody else just playing decent. You can't fix offense by just most of the guys playing decent and like, adding like one bat, and that's kind of the difference here. So I think it's going to be an uphill battle. I trust him a little bit. From a rotation standpoint, I love this rotation. I think this rotation is maybe the best pitching staff in the league, actually. He's got four guys in the top 25, maybe even the top 20, in Ohtani, Valdez, Ryan, and Kirby. Guys that are going to strike guys out for the most part. You're not getting the strikeouts out of Valdez, but he's an accumulator. So for the innings side of it, I mean, 187 strikeouts there. Though that's a really solid four there. And then having two great closers, probably the best closing duo in the league with Edwin Diaz and Palencia. Palencia continues his breakout from last year, and what we saw in the World Baseball Classic kind of can ride that momentum there. And then he's just gonna need to figure out the fifth starter there. So whether it's David Peterson or Messick or Arrighetti, who's in the minors, that's going to be a weakness there. So if he can find just like a fifth starter, which feel like he will. He'll be active on waivers and find that guy, and he can address the offense somehow to fill some of these holes. I think he'll be okay, but I mean, there's certainly some flaws here, and we know he was facing an uphill battle going into the draft. He sold off last year and didn't really have the keeper pieces to really to be a top team, but I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, and again, this is where you kind of got to factor in like how much do we take the owner's actions into account. Phil's going to be a guy that trades. He's going to be a guy that doesn't give up. He's going to be someone that tries to get in and get what needs to be done. So in that respect, I give him the benefit of the doubt there. It's tough seeing Ohtani I mean, obviously in these first few days, I don't know how often Ohtani's going to pitch in the first few weeks. We've talked about it though. If you can get 140 innings from Ohtani, he's going to be worth it at that price without question. So it all just depends what kind of ramp up period he has or where they kind of put him in that rotation, six man every week and a half, whatever they end up doing there. The lineup's fine. Like you said, there's holes in it though. More teams are definitely more balanced than him. OBP, like you said, is going to be a huge concern. I think steals are going to be a pretty big concern. Kyle Tucker having 25 last year. I don't want to say it was an anomaly, but there's been years where he just doesn't steal. There's been years where he steals. Now that he's got the bag, does he maybe not steal as much? Does he not feel the need to in the Dodgers with the lineup he has him? If you got dudes hitting behind you like the Dodgers do, you might not need to steal as much. So
Yeah,
I
but
want,
we do see a lot of steals out of Otani when he probably doesn't
yeah,
have to.
yeah. But I do wonder if that comes down now
And,
that he's
and even Freeman, that they're a team that actually steals quite a bit.
yeah, Freeman. I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe. But yeah, the lineup's fine. It's definitely not one of the worst lineups. Christian Walker at 18 in the draft was, I think, an overpay. I just didn't. I thought he did fine in the offseason making moves. I just think his draft was pretty trashy. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I think it was.
It
I think
wasn't a
getting
good draft, and even he'd admit that.
yeah, I think getting Edwin Diaz at 18 was fine. I think Kirby at 35 was even a little bit more. But again, it's one of those things like if you have to get him because you need him, get him. But
Yeah.
I even think 35 for Kirby was a lot. I mean, we're talking, you're saying this is one of the
This
best
is
rotations in the league, but Kirby was not good last year. The year before he was fine, but he's never been like all-star caliber pitcher yet.
Mhm.
Framber Valdez obviously is probably the two here next to Joe Ryan, but I don't know. I mean, I just it's going to be a solid rotation. It's going to definitely keep him in it, especially with the closers. Hitters are going to be fine. He's going to have to make some moves though, and the guy I trust him to. But when you got guys like Yastrzemski in your lineup, Andres Jimenez in your lineup, Mark Vientos in your lineup, we're talking some dudes that probably are arguably shouldn't be rostered. I mean, we're talking
Mhm.
380, 380p, 289, 349. A lot of these guys are borderline straight up reserves, and you have three of them parked in your lineup. So
Mhm.
there's a little bit of a hill to climb here for sure.
Yeah. And I'm not exactly sure how he really attacks it, and what he kind of does. I mean, I've kind of sent him a few offers here and there for a few from a guy teams that have depth, that have decent bench pieces. I think that this could be a team that if him and Justin kind of get together and take some of those bench bats that I like from Justin's team, and we didn't really talk about with Justin's team as much, but just kind of the bench pieces that he has are actually kind of nice. I mean, having like a Matt McLean on his bench and stuff would make a lot of sense. So maybe there's something to be had there where
Even David Peterson last year wasn't good. I mean, I don't know. I could see
yeah.
as much as I've liked Valdez, as much as I've liked Ryan and Kirby, I could see regression really from all of them. I don't know if there's another gear for any of them, like another gear to
Mhm.
get better. And
But they
that's
don't
kind of
really
what
need to get they don't really need another gear. You kind of know what you have here. If they just are what they are, then this
well,
is
if
still a great
Kirby is what
rotation.
he is last year, that's going to be hurting him.
Yeah, but the previous 2 years he was
Sure.
190 innings in both years with a 3.5 ERA and a
Oh yeah.
1.06 WHIP essentially. So I think Kirby's just fine. You're gonna get 170 strikeouts out of him if he's healthy and a great WHIP. A top maybe 10 WHIP for all starting pitchers in the league.
Right.
So I
And
like what you got
Ponce
on
and Diaz
Kirby.
should be strikeout guys. Like you said, Valdez is going to be close to a strike. This team's going to be very solid in terms of strikeouts and probably wins quality starts, deep in ball games, stuff like that. No, you are right. This is one of the better rotations, but I don't know if there's much upside. Like I feel like the one team we talked about earlier that did have Yuri Perez and I think Spelly's team and had a couple of those guys where it's like there is that ceiling there. I don't know if there's
Yeah. It
another
doesn't have
level.
upside because it doesn't have like breakout potential because like the breakouts have already happened. Like it
No.
just on paper it just is kind of what it is. And so
Right.
we can't look at this and be like, well, maybe if things go right, if this guy does break out, then it's something. Like it already is something based on what these guys are.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
mean,
that
I don't
yeah,
know.
it doesn't have youth, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's tough because again. You didn't like my rotation much, but literally I have two guys, Webb and Lazardo, that are ranked higher than any of those guys.
Yeah, but Webb and Lazardo are also whip killers.
Oh, I get it. I'm just saying you're saying this is one of the best rotations in the league, and I have two guys ranked higher than any of his guys.
You don't have a 3 and 4 like
I
him,
don't. I agree.
and
I
that's the
agree.
thing. So.
But it's interesting. Yeah, I don't
And
know.
if you go inning for inning, if Otani does end up just going 5, 6 innings once a week, I mean, inning for inning, he is a top five pitcher in the league.
Yeah,
His career ERA is 3, his career WHIP is
definitely.
1.07, and he's got 670 strikeouts and only 528 innings. So if it's just he pitches every Wednesday and you're getting 6 innings, 8 strikeouts out of him, and 1 or 2 runs, I mean, it's gonna be looking good for him.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, the lineup thing is just the harder thing to overcome. You can't just. It's so much harder to find guys that are going to contribute value. It's easier to find a waiver wire pitcher that'll contribute for a few or a spot start than it is to find
Yeah.
those hitters. So, we'll kind of see how it pans out for him. I trust him. I do have him in my top half. I trust Phil. He's got he's our
Ooh.
third best all time roto scorer there. I think that he gets a little bit of leeway here. And I trust him more than I trust a lot of folks to turn the ship around.
All right. Sounds good.
What do you have him in your power rankings?
Oh, on my rankings, I have him at 11.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's going to be our biggest one yet. If I got him as a top half, you got him as
But
11.
again, like I said, I have Peter at 10, but I trust Phil more to get the job done than I trust Peter. But Peter's
Yeah.
got way more star power than Phil does, and he's got Woo, and he's got Skeens, which is better than the two that Phil's got. So I almost like have to rank Peter better. I
Maybe.
mean, he's got way more superstars than Phil does.
hmm
I mean,
Yeah.
Phil's
Yeah.
best hitter
The
is tough.
ceiling. Yeah. The ceiling is higher for
Yeah,
Peter.
yeah,
How about that is. I would agree with that. But I think at the end of the year, I think that Phil is way more likely to finish ahead of Peter.
yeah. Based
But
on
I
your
still think that yeah, my previous sentiment is correct, where I think that Phil will finish ahead of Peter, but I think that Peter has a higher likelihood of winning the league. And that's just
yeah,
kind of by design there, by
I don't
with the
disagree
roster
with
he's put
that.
together. Alrighty, so next we have Tyler's team here,
Ooh,
who has not made any trades since January. Come on, Tyler, drop the trailer here and get going here. Although the Matt Shaw, Brandon Lowe trade, good on Tyler for acquiring that for an injured Pablo Lopez, who you weren't even
yeah.
keeping anyway at 40 something dollars. So good job by you there. So Tyler's team is not one of our best teams, to say the least. He's not going to be a front runner this year, but. Do you see a path to Tyler kind of breaking the seal and getting into the playoffs here?
No, definitely not. Tyler's team's rough. It's pretty brutal. Um, I think the offense has some spark to it when you look at Matt
You better
Olson.
say some nice things about our daddy.
I know, I know. And again, you know me. I'm going to bring the ADP thing up. He's got a guy at 270, 264, 270, 245. You go to the pitching, 250, 220. I mean, there's just too many guys that really should be reserve guys for the most part. Max Muncy, I like him, but if you think you're getting 500 at bats from him, you're probably not. He had 300 last year in a platoon role. Great numbers, but if he's only starting 3 out of 6 days a week for you, that's not ideal. Like you said, I
Mhm.
like the Brandon Lowe move. That was solid, but and again, I'm a Cubs fan. What PCA are we getting? Are we getting more first half? Or are we getting more second
Mhm.
half? All indications to me seem like we're going to get something right in the middle of that. I don't think he's going to necessarily be a 30 home run bat every year. I would love him to. He's my favorite player in baseball right now. I love watching the kid play, but I don't think that torrid stretch is going to be the norm. I think he's going to settle somewhere in between of that, but his glove is going to make up for it. Well, in fantasy, that doesn't mean a damn thing, right? So
Mhm.
when you look past Olson and you look past a maybe shaky PCA, you're looking at Mookie Betts, who had, for lack of better words, I don't want to say an awful year last year, but for Mookie Betts, it was a very, very down year for him. And I don't know if we're getting much better at 34 years old from Mookie Betts. So after that, it's a ton of question marks of really who's going to lead this offense, who's going to be putting in these categories to do these types of things. And I just don't see it here. Another injury concern in Mike Trout. If he gets you 130 games, sure. But 130 games last year was 70 runs, 26 homers, and 64 RBIs. Solid, but I mean, that's arguably your third best hitter right now. So I think there's a lot of concerns here. And then you get to the rotation, and there's more concerns. It's Hunter Brown, and then I like him. I wish the Cubs would have got him, but that's a big risk for him essentially being your number two. And then the rest of this being ugly. I mean, this really, I mean, he knew he needed to get an ace in the draft, and he did do that in Hunter Brown. Good job, Tyler. You had to do that because we are looking at maybe the worst, I think, rotation in the league.
it's not ideal. But
Hunter Brown still saves it a lot. I mean, he needed that.
he overpaid on many guys in the draft. He got in at almost like all the wrong times at all the wrong players. I mean, his draft almost like couldn't have been like worse when it comes to spending 17 on Muncy, spending 29 on Betts, I think was an overpay, 16 on Barger is an overpay.
Yeah,
Yeah, 41 on Brown is probably fine. I mean,
probably
no,
about right. Yeah.
only two pitchers went for more than 21. So, but probably right for that. Imai, I think, is an overpay at 16. However, I'm going to disagree. I think this is a team that can contend for a championship. It is
You said a
not, yes.
championship?
Yep. It is a team that can contend for a championship. That is not the most likely outcome at all. It's a very, very low probability of that happening, but this is a team that has a path. And so that's why I framed the question. Is there a path? There's absolutely a path. This team has 9 players who can hit 30 home runs. Olson can hit 30 home runs. Lowe hit 30 home runs last year. Muncy can hit 30 home runs. Betts was 2 years removed from hitting 39 home runs and 35 home runs in the previous 2 years. He's 33 years old. He's not 36 years old. I think that he could still bounce back, especially after all that weight loss of being sick at the start of the year last year sapped all of his power. I think he can have a bounce back year. Barger can hit 30. He hit 21 and 460 at bats, and the dude's 26 years old. I think that there could be a little bit more there for Barger. PCA hit 30 last year. Mike Trout can hit 30. Vaughn can hit 30, and Ozuna can hit 30. If all
Oh,
those
no, no,
guys,
no, 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 no. You need to
look,
look up
look,
Andrew Vaughn's numbers. I'm tired of this conversation. Look
what?
up Andrew Vaughn's numbers. He cannot hit 30.
He hits home runs. How
He's
dare you
never
say he
come
doesn't hit home
close.
runs?
He's never come close.
He hit 9 home runs in 221 at bats in 64 games last year.
He's been in the bigs for 6 years now. He has never come close to 30 home runs.
He's never
Ever.
come close, but with his time with the Brewers, he got hot and he hit nine home
Oh,
runs
and
and
then the guy going
46
down the
RBIs
slide
in
makes you see the
64
ball
games.
better, right? Okay.
That is like a 150 or 162 game pace of probably like what's that, 24 home runs or something like
Well,
that,
I'm gonna go off the
and
five
over
years
100
previous
RBIs.
to that where he never came close.
Okay, that's fine. But he might not hit 30, but I think he can hit
Oh
20 to
man.
25, and that's fine because he
I'm
has
trying to
eight
look
other
at this
guys that can.
sideways to see the same thing you're seeing here, just to see if I can.
And I mean, Berger's got power on the bench. And if PCA could steal 40 bases and Chandler Simpson could steal 100 bases for all we know, he won't. It's not likely that he will. It's not
You see
likely
that
that he
big?
plays every day,
Do you see
but
that big
he can.
number there where it says 0 for home runs? Though that's good.
If he's got 8 guys in his lineup that hit 30 home runs, that then it makes all the difference in the world,
If you're
especially if
counting
you got
Vaughn and
guys with
Muncy
higher
among
upsides there.
those, I don't think so. Come on now.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it can happen. That's all I'm saying here. The rotation is kind of the same thing. Hunter Brown pitched like an ace last year. He was
Oh
probably a
man.
top 5 pitcher last year based on the numbers that we're seeing on the screen here. We have Shane Smith had a little bit of a breakout last year, pretty decent campaign. Shane McClanahan, not counting on him being good. Can he be good? Absolutely. We know he can be good.
He hasn't
Tatsuya
pitched in
Imai,
3 years.
what are we getting out of Imai? We don't know. Could he be good? Yes. The Astros see something in him. A lot of guys like him. In Estevez and Pagan, people hate on him, but like look at their numbers last year. They're very good relievers for what they were last year. Do people think that they're going to sustain it? Nope. Can they? Absolutely. Everybody's being like, "Oh, Estevez is going to lose his job." Oh, we don't know that. If he's anything like he was last year, he's a very good reliever. And the 2.5 ERA and a 1.06 WHIP. And
Yeah.
then Pagan was incredible last year, 2.8 ERA and 0.91 WHIP. So like, I'm not saying all that's going to happen. All this stuff is not going to happen. But like, if for some reason the stars line, like he has players on his team that can do all of these things. Can Imai light the world on fire? Yes. Can McClanahan throw 120 innings of at a damn near Cy Young rate? Yes, he can. He has proven that he can. Can all of these batters hit 30 home runs? Yes, pretty much all of them can that I listed earlier. Will they? No, they all won't. But that's what I'm saying when there's like an actual path here. So, like, is Tyler one of the teams that's in my top half? No, he's not in my top half. He's not even in my top 10. But I think that Tyler's team actually has a better chance of being one of those playoff teams, being a contender, being at the top if things go right for him than a lot of teams. I mean,
Hmm.
I like the upside of this team more than I like the upside of Matt's team. I like this team more than I like the upside of Phil's team. I like this team more than I like the upside of Justin's team, just because I feel
Wow.
like there's actually ceiling here. The,
Wow.
Although those three are all higher in my actual power rankings, because I don't think it'll all work out. But
So
that's I just mean like there's a realistic path here. That's all I'm saying.
Kyle's statement has been brought to you by Tyler Penny, paying for the Zoom.
Hey, well, I got to butter him up a little bit here. No, but I'm
Okay.
serious.
Hey, and I appreciate it, Tyler. I appreciate you giving us this opportunity to speak
Thank
about
you.
your team. I'm hoping you like what Kyle said. And again, yeah, I hope you like what Kyle said. That was
There's
good.
there's no gaps here. The rotation, if McClanahan and Imai are fine.
Dude, McClanahan literally has not pitched in 3 years.
So he's pitching now, and that's all I think that matters.
Okay.
Noah Cameron was real good last year. You didn't even mention him. Ranger Suarez was stable last year. The
Yeah.
stalwart there. So I mean, there's guys here that will be fine. I think Tyler's team will be fine.
Interesting. I mean, it could shock the world, and I'll eat crow. There's no doubt about it. But
It's not
um,
it's not a high probability that's good, but
no.
it's there.
I
There's
mean, I
some
guess it's like one of
bright
those things.
spots
Like the
there.
White Sox technically are competing for a
Right?
World Series.
That is good. It's opening day, and the White Sox haven't been eliminated yet, so that's
No,
good.
I mean, technically they're in the
Honest
running,
feeling.
right? Because they're one of
Mhm.
the 30 teams.
Yeah. All right, we got two teams left. One of them is here live. Should we make them wait longer, or should we finally just get it over with?
I like teasing, but we do what you want,
All
man.
right, we'll go to the Beantown boys here, with Bryce's team here, and maybe a trade or two to discuss. Commence the roast of Bryce. Now we've already alluded to it in part two. I've lost track of all the parts now of where we're at here of this top trade here, which actually only trade since draft night, where he gave up Chapman, Burrows, and Devers, and acquired William Contreras, a catcher. Spencer Torkelson and Drew Rasmussen. Triple F minus. I mean, not really. I mean, it could work out.
Uh,
It could be fine, but yeah, big L. It's going to be a D for me. It's bad.
I wouldn't give it that bad of a grade. Like I said, I definitely think Spelly got a little bit. He got the superstar, and then he got the elite closer. Again, and I'll say this: Chapman has been an every other year guy. So if we get the every other year guy of Chapman, then yes, I could see where that trade all of a sudden is like, oh, okay, whatever. Because every other year he's kind of rocked the boat a little bit. But if he is 2025 Chapman, we're talking maybe the best closer in baseball last year. I mean, really, we're close to that. Him or Shane Smith, between an ERA, a whip perspective, everything. Chapman was absolutely disgusting last year. So
It
you
is
got the best.
wild to see his .7 whip last year after whips of 1.3, 1.22, 1.27,
Yeah.
1.25, 1.43 like the previous years after that, and just randomly just
He's
one
always been huge
point seven. What?
strikeouts. He's always been, and he's been closers in some years. He hasn't been a closer. He gets the job back. So again, I see where the inconsistencies are there. My thing is, and I know we talked about it earlier from Spelly's perspective, Rasmussen doesn't even average 5 innings a start. The ERA and the WHIP are there, but he's killing you in quality starts. He's killing you in Ks. Torkelson is also an every other year guy. Um, William Contreras is probably second or third best hitting catcher in the league, so that's fine. I just think I would rather have the safety net of a guy you know. I mean, Devers, you could argue, is one of the most consistent hitters in the game, right? I
Mhm.
mean, we
Yeah.
can talk about what we don't like about
And
him.
we were worried about the ballpark in San Francisco, but he was
Yeah.
fine in the ballpark.
Whether he was unwilling to do this or do that from a personal standpoint, we can argue that all day. But from a pure just baseball player, I'm going to hit the ball standpoint, I mean, one of the most consistent players in the game. So
Mhm.
to give up the best player in the deal and from last year, an elite closer, I just didn't love it. I wouldn't go F minus on it. I would maybe go C minus on it, but it's because it's not like he's getting nothing back. It's not like the Scooble trade where there was a lot of head shaking there, but I do like it more for Spelly. Yeah.
I change it to a D. Yeah, just because I mean these are guys that teams were clamoring for, Devers and Chapman, and guys were going to be lined up for some of these guys, and then to trade away and not really get pieces back that people really would be clamoring for, is just kind of head scratching to me. He already had a catcher in Herrera that I liked, and so I don't know why he wants to acquire William Contreras because I think Herrera is going to have a big year this year. So now he's just kind of got two catchers, I guess. I guess you got the utility there, but don't really, obviously love that part of it. No real reason to get Contreras. Torkelson is just a worse version of what you really want out of a first baseman, with only 78 RBIs in a full season last year, 31 homers. If he does 31 homers again, sure, great, but he was also in
And
the
it's weird too,
minors
because
like
that
two
was on a
years
good
ago.
team. I wonder why the
Mhm.
RBIs are so low when he was on a good team last year. 78
Mhm.
RBIs for 31 bombs just seems kind of low.
If we were doing hot takes, I would say that Burrows will have a better year than Rasmussen, or Burrows will be a bigger fantasy contributor because like it's at times like can you even start Rasmussen if you know he's not going to get a quality start and you are have a low likelihood of him getting a win, he's not going to strike guys out. You're just hoping he doesn't get shelled and he helps the ERAs and WHIP, which he does. But like, I just don't think from a fantasy perspective that he's really a guy that you really want in your lineup. So, yeah, I don't really like this to giving up like, one of the premier power hitters in the league endeavors and, Chapman, who a lot of teams needed closers and wanted closers, or were hitting Bryce up about closers. And, I was told that he wasn't moving any of them and that he wanted to keep them all. He liked where he was at. And then here we are moving, Devers, his best power hitter,
And I
and,
was told Screwball
Chapman.
wasn't getting moved either, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden he was moved. So I don't know.
Funny how these things happen. It plays a little bit hard to get here, for the most part. So, let's take a look at what his team actually looks like now. And this is a team that I think you said that you are a little tepid on now.
Yeah, I think throughout the offseason, and like I said, it's Bryce does a decent job of us hating his trades, but him still coming out on top in some weird way. And he's proven that the last couple years. I think the first couple years in the league were shaky for him, but the last couple years he's proven himself to pretty much be in the playoff race every year. So again, when we talk about owners proving themselves, like Phil going out and making moves, you going out and making moves, I trust Bryce to go out and do what he needs to do. But even though a lot of times we don't like the moves he makes, there's been times where he has proven us wrong in our takes and what we think. So and this could be one of those. It could, because looking at his team, it is not a bad roster by any means. From an offensive standpoint, I said this earlier. I don't think there's really a hole in the offense. I don't really like starting Luis Arias because, again, from a fantasy perspective, he's literally giving you nothing. I mean, from a literal standpoint, he's giving you nothing. He's not getting you plus an OBP. He's not getting you RBIs. He's not getting you home runs. He's not scoring. So, but I get it. You could argue he's the worst hitter in his lineup because I think
Who?
Carter Jensen is going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate. He should be starting almost every day. Nimmo, Merrill,
Wait, who were you just talking about just now?
Luis Arias.
Uh, Luis Arias. Where's Luis Arias?
Oh, I'm looking at Spelly's team. Oh my God. Here we go. Hold on. Reset. All right. Even still the same. Bryce is probably like, what the fuck is he talking about? Even still the same. I echo a lot of the same things. I don't think there's really big holes in this lineup. Again,
That's a
you know me,
first.
ADP guy. He's only got one dude outside of his catcher, and again, catchers are just going to be down there because that's just what they are. And I like Ivan Herrera a lot. When you look at the numbers he put up last year, which is again echoing the statement of like, why did you need to get Willie Contreras? This
Yeah.
lineup looks better with
I'd much rather have Devers than Contreras. Yeah.
Overall, the lineup though doesn't really have a weak spot. Colton Cowser, you could argue, is like the next worst player in this lineup. So from a balanced perspective, this is a really just up to top to bottom good lineup. It's obviously led by Soto. My big concern though, and I get you're gonna have this when you have Juan Soto, is it's Juan Soto, and then you did have Devers, but it's Juan Soto, and then your literal next best hitter is probably William Contreras. So
Mhm.
that scares me a little bit that there is that much of a drop off, but his lineup is so balanced throughout that I don't think there's. I mean, these guys are all starting on almost every roster, outside of maybe Cowser, outside of maybe that. I mean, really, that's it. These guys are all starting on other rosters. Even Ramos at ADP 175 with four outfielders, he's starting on rosters. So I think it's a very, very balanced lineup. Does this mean it's going to be a top three lineup? No, because I just don't think it has the star power for it, but it's going to compete week in and week out. And then the rotation. There's worse rotations. I think BB, Eovaldi, and Ragans is a solid 1, 2, 3. But again, you're banking on Ragans throwing 100 innings for the second time in his career. He's only done it once. Last year was shaky. Rasmussen, we've already went at length over his lack of being able to go deep in games. Nick Eovaldi, again, has had a terrific year last year. Terrific, but he's typically like a 3.7, 3.8 ERA pitcher. I mean, that is typically what he is. Did he just magically
He
find
had the Aroldis Chapman of years, where it's like he
Yeah,
literally was the same pitcher for 6 straight years, and all of a sudden, whoa,
yeah,
where did this
exactly.
come from at age 35?
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at
Just
with him.
like
Like,
Chapman.
do we really expect that again from Eovaldi at 36? No, I think he's going to regress more to who he usually is. But he needs him to be as good as he used to be. And Tanner Beebe last year was a 4.2 ERA. So to me, I don't love the lineup. I like it a lot, but I like it more than the rotation, where I do feel like there is some question
I,
marks.
I, I guess if you look at
Go
who's
ahead.
on IL though, I mean, I have Bubic on my bench because he's not starting this weekend on this short little like
Sure.
beginning of the week. And then
Yep.
I have Bryce Miller,
Big
Joe
rebuttals.
Musgrove, Wheeler. Like if those guys are in my rotation, I mean, the rotation probably feels a little bit better.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, once Wheeler's back, that's huge. I mean,
yeah.
Wheeler and Ragans as a 1, 2 is big, and I completely agree with that. Miller, I'm a little
Yeah,
skeptical.
who knows?
just because of
Yeah.
how bad he was last year. But yeah, if he returns to 2024 form and we got Wheeler, Miller, Ragans, Eovaldi, I could see where this is a top six rotation. I don't disagree with you there.
Mhm.
Oh, hold on. I'm getting a phone call. Take it away, Kyle.
All right. From what I see here, I'm quite a bit underwhelmed. In my opinion, looking at some of the offensive here, we'll start there. When you have William Contreras as your second best player, who last year didn't really have that great of a season, and because he's a catcher, you don't really necessarily start. Man, I guess he does play most days, but he's never had a 100 RBI season, and he's never had a 100 run season before, and he's not really a guy that's going to hit 30 home runs either. And so, like, that's your second best offensive player, and it's just like, well, what does he really do well? He gets on base and he stuffs the stat sheet a little bit, but not in a way that is like super kind of meaningful to really move the needle. And then you have a lot of guys on this roster that really don't make a lot of contributions either from a fantasy standpoint, like that really are like outlier or high upside guys, like your Bryson Stott. Bryson Stott's not an everyday player. He had 500 at bats. He was healthy all year last year because he's platooned with either Edmundo Sosa or somebody out there. Okay, sounds good. Then so he's not really gonna stuff the stat sheet from a runs, RBIs, production. He's not gonna hit a lot of home runs. Cowser will kind of see what he can do with maybe more playing time this year in Baltimore.
Sure.
If he does like a 2020 thing, more like a Nick Markakis there, then that could be decent. Elio Ramos is a guy I do not like. I've been on the record. He played an entire full season last year and 20 home runs, 6 steals, and not really a lot of counting stats. The runs are okay, but
Yeah, that's solid though.
I
I mean,
just
if that's your sixth or seventh best guy in your lineup, I just don't think that's
but there's just like not the star power. If you have a lot of guys in there that
I
like,
agree.
that are just doing that, there's not like the star power to like kind of
He's kind of
balance
missing, I
that
don't know,
out.
like a Devers.
Yeah, almost like kind of like that. Or, this rotation could really use a guy like Scooble. I know Bryce would never have a guy like that on the roster, but no, and then from a rotation, like it'll be fine. If Bubic kind of does what he did last year, it'll be fine. But there's just a lot of concerns. There's performance concerns, there's health concerns. I like the Will Warren pickup. I had my eye on him actually. But I couldn't snag him in time because his upcoming matchups are actually pretty solid. If Bryce is taking a look at that, the relievers are a big question mark. Like, I don't know if either of the relievers, first of all, I don't know if the relievers are good. Like, I don't know if Ryan Walker's actually a good pitcher. And I don't know if Griffin Jackson is a good pitcher based on what he did last year. He strikes a lot of guys out, but he had a 4.2 ERA and a 1.28 whip.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm frozen again. Hopefully you can, oh, there we go. And then, like, I don't know if either one of them will keep their job throughout the year. And then he just traded like the one guy that we know was going to be in his job for a while and was stable. And so, like, for Chapman to be the guy that you traded was shocking because, like, I don't really have the most faith in these two guys here, Jackson Walker. And when you don't really have an elite rotation, which you certainly don't, and then to not really back it up with like good closers, like that could be decent closers, was like really a surprise. You took some of your strengths and turned them into weaknesses, and now it's like a team that I don't really know what this team is good at. Like, what is plus about this team? That I really don't know. And so, when you get Wheeler back, if he's himself, great. But like with this injury, like I don't even know if I expect him to be himself. He spent the night $16 on him in the draft, but you're going to get him for maybe half a season this year and then never again
Comes
because
back in a couple weeks.
he's retiring. So we'll see. Reagans has too many question marks for me this year. I love the pitcher. I love the guy. I think he's great. But whether it's a health, whether it's a performance, whether it's an ERA, or whether it's a ballpark moving the fences in, I just have a lot of concerns for him. Eovaldi should be decent. He won't be what he was last year, but he should be decent. Bybee was bad last year. Rasmussen might be unstartable. Warren was bad last year. So, like, there's just not enough to actually latch onto here to say that I like this about this team. Like, it's not really a team that has plus speed. It's not really a team that has plus power. It's not a team that has good pitching. So I do think this is actually a team that is not a contender anymore.
Oh.
Surprisingly, a team that has won Roto in back-to-back years. When we
So
talk about
Tyler's a
teams,
championship
Tyler
contender.
has a higher likelihood of winning the league than Bryce does,
Oh, no, no, no,
and
no, no, no.
I
Oh,
hope that
come
Bryce takes
on,
that personally,
dude.
and I'll stand by it. That I mean
Oh,
that
come on.
sincerely with a straight face. That
That's
I
crazy.
I don't really see as much of a
That's an
path here.
actual bold take that you
It
finally
is
came up
good.
with.
And that's fine. For this offense, I just don't see enough that can go right with this offense for it to be a top offense. And the pitching staff, like anything can happen. I mean, if they all hit their ceilings, if Rasmussen's throwing 6, 7 inning starts and Wheeler comes back in as Wheeler and Reagans is healthy for the whole year and Evaldi pitches like he did last year, like all those things aren't going to happen. But
Here's
I
what I'll say
suppose
about
if they
Bryce.
do, it'll be great. but there's just not enough here for me to really be kind of sold on it. So I actually have Bryce in the bottom half, which surprised me. I
Wow.
usually love Bryce's teams, but it's going to be a bottom half team for me.
The way I look at it is I think he's about mid-range for offense and I think he's about mid-range for pitching. So in that case, yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head in the terms he's not great at anything, but I don't think he's necessarily bad at anything. Pre-trade I had Bryce at 6.
Mm,
Post-trade I had Bryce at 8. So
oof. Okay.
right there competing for the playoffs, right there in the playoff hunt. Again, I think there's a big mishmash there between all those teams. And again, I trust Bryce even though we dog on his trades, I know he's going to be active and make the moves when he needs to make them.
Yeah. All right, Bryce, your rebuttal.
I don't think my team is sexy. I don't think I have any holes in my offense at all. Everyone has at least double-digit steal potential, other than Torkelson probably. Um, and Contreras, both catchers.
Yeah, but it's a catcher. Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at the projections of all of these guys, they have 20 home run like upside, and then at least a few guys have 30 home run, 40 home run upside.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think my offense is solid. My pitching is like really sketchy. I think the ceiling's there. I think both my offense and rotation have a high ceiling potential. Um, just everything has to go right, which
Right. Well, my
yeah.
thing too is like
Yeah.
I know you're a Red Sox guy, and I don't know if Durbin's going to be hitting right there in the order every
Yeah,
often.
he's fifth today.
I know, and,
I
that's what
kind of
to
want to
me.
swap him in for Butler. I don't know, but
But to me,
yeah.
like the way I look at it, and again, I know we're harping on it. If you had Devers and Chapman, that clears up the save situation. That clears up having that other superstar bat. You'd throw in instead of having Contreras, you'd throw in Durbin. If he's hitting fifth in that good Red Sox lineup, he's gonna have a ton of opportunities. I don't know if that's his normal spot. It kind of
Yeah.
surprises me to see him there,
Yeah,
but it's
Myers sitting today, which was
but, it,
surprising.
but it's like wow. I mean, and that's where I think the trade. That's where I kind of dropped you a little bit. I had you at 6, now I got you at 8. So still a playoff contending team. I don't know how Tyler is a championship team contender, and Bryce isn't at least somewhat higher. But hey, I get your point.
And, there are a few teams that could use a guy like Josh Lowe, like Dana or Phil, or Caleb Durbin, a guy that is going to steal a little more bases. So maybe there's a little path there to make some more moves here for Bryce. But yeah,
Well,
it's
I'll
hard to
definitely
see,
make
hard to
more
see on paper
moves.
right
We'll
now.
see.
It wouldn't put it past you.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
I'm down to move Contreras. I think he helps my
Nobody
lineup right
wants
now.
catchers. Get out of here with Contreras.
Chris needs a catcher bat.
Mm, who's Chris's catcher?
JT Realmuto?
Yeah, but he's only got 3 on his bench. So
Yeah, but they're all
Austin
awful.
Wells hit 21 home runs and drove in 71 last year. On his bench there. Real Muto for
And,
dollar.
and then to me,
Neighborhood
it's not. And I see Kyle's point in the past where I mean, if your catcher again is your eighth or ninth, 10th, 11th best hitter in your lineup and they're serviceable, then like who cares? A lot of people have a eight like their catcher is their 11th best hitter in their lineup. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's rare you have the Rallies, the Goodmans, or the Contrerases. So
It just
Yeah.
doesn't really
I
make sense.
think
Like,
Herrera also could pick up first base or outfield eligibility.
Herrera,
So,
Herrera put up some good. The fact that Mason Wynn's hitting fourth for St. Louis tells you all you need to know about how shit that team is.
yeah, for sure.
Like that's bad.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
that's
love
bad.
to see it, but that is bad.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, all right. So we'll go quickly into Chad's here. Eric, why don't you go ahead and take the lead on Chad here?
Sure. Chad's team to me, I liked it a lot more earlier in the offseason than I do now. I do think it is still a top half team, but he's kind of dropped down a little bit throughout this offseason. Again, he's got the
4
superstars.
trades since the draft.
Yeah, he's got Otani and Gunnar Henderson, obviously true superstars. Gunnar, though, needs to bounce back. I mean, if Gunnar does what he did last year, that's not superstar numbers. I mean, it just isn't. Those are solid, fine numbers, but that's not 17th best player in fantasy baseball numbers at all. So he really
Mhm.
needs to live up to that $40 price tag. I like Stewart. We talked about Garcia earlier, maybe having another gear that could take him to the next level. Caglione was drafted ADP 170. Well, that's got to be off pure potential. And I know he has that prospect pedigree, but we're talking about a dude that was awful at the big
He
league
hit
level.
balls hard last year, but he was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, he was terrible last year in that small sample size. But Drake Baldwin coming off a rookie of the year thing again. I think 15 was a little high for that, but again, at this point, we're not really judging salaries too much. Araz Arena, we got to really watch out for him in Seattle. I know it's hard to hit there with the vision and stuff. I'm learning all this new stuff, so we'll watch out there. But O'Neal Cruz, I thought at 18 was a really good value. Dalen Lyle was a top three rookie of the year candidate last year, and you really look at his numbers in 91 games. Again, it's not going to pop off the page to you, but on a horrible Nationals team to score 51 runs in 91 games, have a 350 OBP, and do what he did, Dalen Lyle to me is kind of one of those like sneaky good players you can kind of have on your roster overall with what he was able to produce. And then McGonigal, I mean, he's hitting six in that lineup. A lot of people are raving about him. We'll see what he's able to contribute. So to me, there's a lot of upside here. While some teams don't have that, I think Garcia has another level. Caglione has another level. Sal Stewart has another. So I think Chad's done a really good job of kind of building a team. If we want to talk about like a team like Tyler's that could be a championship tender,
Yeah.
or could be awful, I think bare minimum, Chad's probably a playoff team with the right things going well. We're looking at a top two or three team in the league if some of these youngsters really come up and do what they're supposed to do. Does Cade Horton have another level? Christopher Sanchez, right in his prime. Glasnow finally being able to be healthy again. Does Zach Gallen bounce back? So I don't think there's really many question marks on this team. Outside of maybe getting saves. I don't know if Beater's going to be the save there and closer there in Washington. I like Chase Burns even, but I don't think he's starting in these first few days, which is why he's on the bench there. Bubba Chandler, again, do we see another thing from him? Both 23 years old, Burns and Chandler. I think Chad, you could argue, maybe not, I'm not saying depth wise, but from pure top to bottom, just really has like names that are just like, wow, yeah, I'd like to have him on my team. Wow, yeah, I'd like to have him on my team. There's not really many names here where you're like, nah, Seiya Suzuki is just sitting there on the IL.
He drives a
Chase,
hard bargain too.
yeah, Chase DeLauder. So I mean, I look at this and I think it's fine. I got to get going though.
All right. So when I look at this team here, I am not necessarily blown away, but I'm gonna kind of reiterate some of the things that Eric was saying there about what we kind of see with this team here. This team has all kinds of potential in the world. This certainly is a team with a league-winning upside. There's guys here that can be good. Are they good? I don't know. I don't actually know if any of these guys are actually good. Like this could be like a last place team, for all I know. Maybe not last place, but it could certainly be like a bottom three team if things don't work out. I mean, there's so much that could go wrong about what we saw out of a lot of these guys last year, and I think he's trying to pounce on some buy low opportunities on some of these batters on how they performed last year. So I think that you will see how that kind of works out for him. But we have like Caglione was not good last year. We don't know if he's good yet. Garcia doesn't really have the power output. I think he's going to be a contributor in five categories, but maybe everything except for home runs. Not going to be a huge helper in RBIs, but shouldn't hurt you. Sal Stewart, we don't know if he's good or not. Wasn't really great in the 55 at bats last year, but everybody's calling for the breakout. Gunnar Henderson wasn't great last year. Alec Burleson isn't another guy he's another guy that just like isn't really a good fantasy contributor. He kept him for $6. That was a head scratcher for me. I don't really see what you're getting out of Burleson, a guy that 18 home runs, 5 RBIs last year. He's like the way worse version of Ian Happ, I guess, was what you're getting out of that. Randy Rosarena, I think people do sleep on a little bit. Kept him for 21, had a really solid year last year. I mean, who wouldn't want 27 home runs, 31 RBI, or 31 stolen bases? Isn't that basically what Jazz Chisholm does, like as his ceiling? And what we love Jazz Chisholm, but hate Randy Rosarena. So that I think is really a good player there. O'Neal Cruz, like he could be cut, he could be benched sent down to AAA by midway through the year if he keeps hitting lefties the way he does and getting on base at the clip that he did last year, which is really bad. Dalen Lyle, we don't know if he's good or not. Kevin McGonigal, like how often do these guys actually come out and play well right away? We don't know. Otani's great. Hopefully he stays healthy. Lawler hasn't been good at all in his time in the big leagues. And Chase DeLauder, another rookie here. So like these are guys with tremendous ceilings. Some people are saying Caglianone is going to hit 35 home runs this year. And all these, Dylan Lyle is going to go 25, and McGonigal is going to be rookie of the year. And like, sure, like those things can happen. And if it does, then look out. This is going to be the best team in the league. He's got Seiya Suzuki coming back in a couple weeks. Same thing with the rotation. It's basically much of the same. Like, what's his floor of his rotation? He's got Sanchez, who just got extended. He's great. Glass now, made of glass. Gallen was bad last year. Cade Horton, we all know that he's not going to be the pitcher he was last year, that there's going to be a little bit of regression there. It's just a matter of what's he going to regress to. He's not a guy that strikes guys out. Gavin Williams is the breakout here. Is it real? He strikes guys out, but it's a 1.21 whip. Can he locate? Can he command? The relievers not what you want. You don't want Washington's closer this year, and this guy sucks. We don't even know if he can pitch well. Helsley was also bad last year. 1.53 WHIP for Helsley last year, playing for pitching for Baltimore. They're not going to put up with a 1.5 WHIP from their closer. So we'll see if he's good, but we don't really know if he's good. He's got some depth in the pitching. Some guys that you have to like here with Burns, Chandler, and Jacob Lopez. Those are guys that would be in a lot of rotations. So I think there's guys that he can mix and match, but I just see like I see the bottom of this team of I don't know if this team is good or not. So as it currently stands right now, I'm just kind of looking at this being like this is not really a top three team. I don't know if it is. It's going to be right outside there. It's going to be a top half team. I just don't really know if it's good yet. So we'll kind of see. The upside is absolutely tremendous if these guys bounce back to what they could be, and if everything goes right, this will be an absolute runaway. Like if McGonigal wins Rookie of the Year, Dalen Lyles is serviceable, and Sal Stewart is decent, and and Caglione it's his 90th percentile outcome, then like look out. If Glass now pitches 130 innings, look out. It's probably gonna wipe the floor with a lot of teams, with most teams that are gonna have a hard time keeping up. So we'll just kind of have to see and play it by ear. You maybe has some trade chips as well that teams are going to want. A lot of A contracts I see here. A lot of young guys that might be enticing for some. He'll probably be able to turn Chase DeLauder into something at the deadline if he needs something, if he needs a pitcher. You can trade Westberg for something if he needs that to a team that's out of it. So we'll kind of see how it goes here. Do you want to take the reins here, Bryce? You want your time to shine here with Eric's picking up his car from the dealership?
No, I'm good. I wasn't really listening, to be honest.
You don't want to give your take on Chad's team?
Well, I was listening, I guess, a hair. I feel like my team has upside as well, like just as much as Chad's. Like, sure, but looking at all the young guys he has,
That's kind of where like the
they're not
upside
gonna
comes in.
hit. They're like they never do. Like maybe one of
They
them will.
sometimes do, but yeah, they're not all
Yeah,
gonna hit.
yeah. So I don't know. There's like Sal Stewart, McGonigal, Lyle, Lawler, DeLauder. I'd say probably what was that, 4 or 5? I'd say maybe two of those hit.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
And they're not gonna, I mean, maybe one of them, maybe McGonagall could be Rookie of the Year, but I don't know. I just think that's a lot of risk. It's just as much risk as what I have, I feel like. And I have actual MLB players, not kids.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that your team is safer to kind of be mid. But I think like the upside of some of the other teams is going
yeah,
to be the upside of this team is going to be a little bit higher than what that because yeah, this team could be a lot of that where most of his team is made up of like he got them at the value at their lowest value like
yeah.
as their rookies as their coming off down years whatever it is and so if a lot of these guys hit then I think
I
overall
actually, I
fine.
actually love his pitching on it, looking at it.
Really?
I mean, I really do. Christopher Sanchez, Gavin Williams. I mean, Chase Burns is on the bench probably. Yeah, he's not starting this weekend, so that's probably why he's on the bench. Bubba
I don't even know if he's
Chandler.
gonna be. I think he's gonna come out of the bullpen. I think for the start of the year.
It says he's scheduled to start the fourth
Is he?
game.
Hmm.
Yeah. Bubba Chandler, like I mean, still kind of same
Like,
thing
is he
as
good? Is he not good? We don't know.
it's the same thing as his lineup. Like there's a lot of upside there. Um, yeah. I think this weekend looking at people's rosters and rotations, it's just weird because we have this short like half week period. So like want to get the starts in that we have this weekend. I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
Yeah.
I give credit to Colin Coward and to Bill Simmons of the world. It is not easy to talk to yourself in a podcast. Like you can't. It's so hard to do a one person podcast. We're not like getting any feedback. Just like sit up here, like when Eric obviously left here, he's picking up his car.
Yeah.
Where it's just like talking to like nobody is like gonna respond. Like it
Yeah.
is. It is not
Yeah,
easy
for
to do.
sure.
So
Well, there's
um,
some people who just love to hear themselves talk.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that I'm not the least guilty of that sometimes. I guess, it's a long track record of podcasts to prove that to boot for that. So, we'll kind of see there. But well, I don't know when Eric's going to get back. So I'll go ahead and go through my. Oh man, I don't want to do no, I don't want to do power ranks without Eric because I want to be able to
Yeah,
compare.
compare
So
them and
I'm gonna
stuff.
go ahead and put a bookmark in this. We'll pause it and hopefully Eric's back in 5 or 10 minutes here, and then we'll pick up where we left off there.
Cool.
All right, Eric is back. The solo pod is over. Any final thoughts on Chad's team before we wrap this thing up?
We thought a little bit differently on it. It definitely seems that way, but like I said, overall, I almost want to say I was a little bit harsher on my rank than I initially thought I was. I really do think over top to bottom, I mean, this is a solid team. There's a reason I always kind of had it in that 3 to 4 range the entire offseason, and they
Mhm.
did dip a little bit, but I'm not really seeing why I should have made it dip too much because now that we've been through all the rosters, I do like it. I really do. I
Mhm.
mean, yes, I do have concerns after Christopher Sanchez, and who knows? Christopher Sanchez really has had 2 full seasons at the big league level. And yes, he has improved each year, but could I see a world where he's more of a 3 than a 1? I could. I think he is more of an ace than anything, but I do have some concerns with the pitching after that. He is relying on Chase Burns, Bubba Chandler, some of those youngsters coming up. He does have Corbin Burns later in the year, so you can almost look at that as like a trade deadline acquisition mid-season. I don't
Yeah.
know how much we can really expect out of him later in the year, but that is kind of just nice to have in your back pocket. But again, you throw Suzuki in this lineup, and we're talking, I think, from top to bottom, truly right there with me, you, and Dana. I think probably, and again, Dexter in there too with his sluggers. I do think this is a top 5 lineup in the league, top 5 or
Mhm.
6 lineup for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it at the end of the day it will be. It just there's things that can go wrong. We don't know if it's good or not, but I think it'll probably be okay.
Right.
Uh, all right, so here's what we have here. We're gonna do our power rankings. Or I'm gonna do my power rankings actually. Here as I cast them. My 14 to 1. So I don't know. I didn't have yours memorized. What yours actually are. I just have what mine are. How do you think we should unveil these?
I don't know. How about we each go 14 through 1, and then at the end we rattle them off so it's not confusing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you do your 14, I do my 14, vice versa, and then when we get all the
Okay.
way through, we quickly one more time say our 14 through 1.
Okay. So coming in at number 14 for me, as I scroll down here, drum roll, we have Creamy Charles. Welcome to the bottom here. That is not going to help our
Oh
negotiations
wow.
from earlier today. We'll kind of see there. I did actually, the more we talked about it, the more I did see things that I like about his team, where I don't think it's like, hopeless, dead in the water kind of a thing, but there's just not enough there that I can really rally behind there to say like, oh, this team is can be taken seriously.
Right. I got at 14, I got Tyler. I mean, I do. I do think 12
Mhm.
to 14 are close, but I got Tyler. Yeah.
How dare you?
I
How
know.
fucking dare you?
And he can
All
prove
right.
me wrong. He can do it. We'll see.
In 13, I'm going Jordan. Not enough there. Didn't think I thought the draft he kind of overpaid, didn't really like the way it came together. Don't really see a path to him being irrelevant this year again.
I got Jordan at 13 as well. So me and you were
All
spot
right.
on that one. I
So
got
I'm
him at
assuming
13.
that we're probably going to be flip-flopped on this next one. So this is where I am going to have Tyler.
Okay. And this, yeah, exactly. This is where I got Krim. So yeah, that
So we're
makes sense.
gonna really like it's just a three-way tie. It's a tier of if you average all those out, they're all kind of tied for 13th there. Those
So when I
bottom
told
three.
you the bottom 3 teams
Yep.
were the same, and you said no, I don't think they are, and then they were.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yep. Yep. You did say that. You said the bottom three teams, and I'm like, I don't know, but yeah, I thought there would be a little bit of discrepancy there on some of those. All right, so I'm gonna take a probably similar pattern to last year. This one might surprise you, but I already
All
talked
right.
about it earlier. I'm going Dex here, just because
Okay.
as much as I liked the some of the
Okay.
guys, some of the values he got, the stars, it just doesn't come together for me in a way. It just didn't round out nicely categorically, and I don't think there's enough pitching, and I don't think that the stars in his offense can carry the guys that don't do anything for his offense enough. It's not a terrifying offense for me.
Yeah, it's interesting the fact that I think you would agree that Dexter and Justin had 2 of the better drafts, and it sounds like they might both be in your bottom half of teams. So it shows that
They
even
are.
having a great draft might not be enough to kind of pull you forward.
I don't know. There's a path there. It just didn't
Yeah,
I like the players that drafted. Just like when you look at the overall team construction, there's things missing. I mean, they
yeah,
could be. I mean, Dex and Just could make a trade together that probably makes both their teams much better.
right.
Actually, they actually would be probably pretty good trade partners.
I got Phil at 11, and again, I trust, like I said, the owner and the track
No.
record for him to come forward and be a playoff contender. And I truly do think after we get 12 through 13, 14, I'm not saying they're totally done and out of it, but I really do think everyone from that 6 to 11 range are playoff contenders. I don't think any of these teams are brutally bad, but I do have Phil at 11.
No respect for the league geezer,
Mhm.
for the management skills there. All right, coming in at number 10, it's going to be the Beantown boys, Bryce. So he left us to take a phone call, no longer with us, but he's not going to be happy with that ranking there. So, but yeah, I don't. It's hard for me to see a path for Bryce. I just don't really see the upside of his squad compared to other squads.
Yeah, I'm really surprised you have Bryce that low, but I got Peter at 10. I do think Peter has some sluggers. He's got some bats there, but again, track record of the user, it's kind of echoing what you said earlier. I trust Phil, despite having I think a worse team on paper. I trust Phil to do a better job than Peter, but as of right now, I do have Peter and Phil pretty much neck to neck, 10 and 11.
Next, I'm gonna go Justin here. It's an imperfect roster, but if he can get his hands on a pitcher somehow, some way, then I think it's gonna look a lot different. I think all he really has to do is just if he could just trade one of those first basemen for like a top 30 pitcher or something like that. I think that this would be a really solid, well-rounded team here. But it just the way it's currently constructed, I'm not a huge fan of what it is right now.
Oh well, okay. I got Dex at 9. Like I said, I think he's going to be in the
That's a
playoff hunt.
lot.
I really do.
I thought with how terrified you are of his offense, that surprises me.
Of his pitching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just mean like you think his offense is scary,
Oh yes,
like
I
you're
do. Yeah,
scared
yeah.
of it, kind
I
of.
am terrified of his pitching. I know he had Yamamoto earlier in
I
the
think you're
offseason.
nauseated by his pitching, but you're afraid
Yeah.
of his hitting.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I look at it is at the end of the day, if he's a great hitting team and a horrible pitching team, let's say, and again, it's not going to work out this all the time, but let's say that's a 5-5 week every week. What really pulls together here? And that's where I have him right around a
Yeah.
500 team, probably right around in the playoff picture, but maybe on the
And it's
outside.
not even like he can go 6-4 with closers because he doesn't have the
Right.
closers either. So it's just like sometimes you can steal saves for a week and get those five categories too. And I don't think the five categories for Dex are the same, but for Justin, we'll kind of see. We'll see.
Yeah, for
Maybe
sure.
it's Justin's year to make a run. Coming in at number 8, this is where I have Peter. So I think that there's enough there to be a little bit afraid of. And if things fall right, then this is going to be a contending team. But as we've been proven time and time again, things aren't going to fall right, especially when those outfielders, those injury-prone outfielders, Jordan, Judge, Tatis, and Chisholm, all those guys battle their fair share of injuries. And when they do go down, who's there to replace them? Nobody. So,
Right.
if things go right, Peter's team will be a force to be reckoned with. But it hasn't gone right yet, and I don't think it will. But I mean, there's clearly a path there.
Yeah, at 8, I got Bryce. I think Bryce, like I said, has kind of fallen a little bit this offseason. Prior to the trade, I probably would have had him at 6. After the trade, I got him at 8, and that just shows how close it is between some of these teams. I really think you can swap a lot of these 6 through 8, 6 through 9 teams for the most part. But overall, I do have Bryce at 8.
Well, we're really in lockstep. So Phil's the only going to be the only one we really have a disagreement on. So
Yeah.
that's more than like two spaces, actually. We're pretty aligned here. Coming in at number 7, this is actually I think going to be the same. It's Matt. So yeah, right in the middle of the pack there. So you're going to have Peter below his friend Matt. I'm going to have, or no, we both have Matt above Peter actually.
Yeah, I got Spelly at 7 as well. So we're,
Yeah.
we're both right there in the middle. Spelly kind of right there, kind of mid-range team. Again, probably competing if 6 teams make the playoffs, probably competing right for a playoff spot right there. Doing a good job taking over that team and kind of making moves, showing how active he is. I'm excited to see what he can do in the league this year. I think he's been a fun guy so far.
Yep. So then this is going to be probably like the last name of that mid tier, which is not going to surprise you here. But so this is where I have Phil. So you had Phil all the way down at what, 11?
Yeah.
I have him at 6. So that's really the only one we're like really off on. Most it's like 2 or 3. I think that the pitching, I think that it might be the best pitching staff in the league from closers. He might lead the league in saves from closers on 2 really good teams. Has enough strikeouts, has enough starting pitching, guys that I feel like he can rely on from a starting pitching standpoint. He just really needs to find the 5th guy. It's just the offense is concerning, kind of the inverse of Dex there. But I just feel like there's enough there with the offense to kind of get him a decent amount of points.
For sure. Oh yeah. You said that was your 6th?
Yeah, that was 6.
Okay. At 6, I got Justin. I think he's risen up the ranks throughout the year. I think at the beginning of the offseason, I probably would have had him at 11 or 12. But with the moves he's made, I really liked his draft. I think he's really been the biggest riser throughout the offseason. I probably would have had him around that 10, 11 range. So for him to jump up 5 spots in an offseason in a keeper league where it does seem like a lot of the good teams stay good, I think he did a really good job of catapulting himself into that playoff race. Last year, I remember seeing he had some big names, but I also said, I think Justin's going to be selling at the deadline. He's got a lot of big superstars. He can make some moves, but I don't think there's enough here. I'm kind of flipping that script this year. I think Justin should be competitive. I could see where things could go wrong and not well, but I think Justin should do a decent job.
I hope so. Hope for my bro, for my best man, actually. That's the case. So, which means we do have the same top five teams left. You have five teams left. I have five teams left, and they are the same five names in both. So, not really a coincidence, but just kind of funny how that works. We have our disagreements, but at the end of the day, it just kind of falls the way it falls. So, here at
Right.
number five, I have Dana's team. So this is I think that the offense isn't as scary as you think it is for as an opponent standpoint. I think it's a good offense, and then the pitching scares me a little bit. After those top two starting pitchers, I just think there's a fall off, and so it's top heavy with the pitching. It doesn't have the depth, and then the hitting has the depth, but doesn't have the top end hitting to really be like one of the top teams. So I got Dana five.
I got Chad at five. And like I said, I don't think that's low necessarily, but again, I really think 1 through 4, 1 through 5. I think the top couple teams really are the top few teams there, but um, I do think there's a little bit of a separation between 5 and 6, and then I think 6 through 9 are pretty close, but I do think the top five are pretty sorted. I got Chad at 5.
Hmm. Next, I have Chad at four. So one spot ahead of
Yep.
you. I think that it's an incomplete team. I think on paper it's going to be okay. Just a lot of question marks. Is it good? I don't know. But if it does hit, a lot of these players do hit, then it's going to be a terrifyingly good team. It's going to be if enough things go right. He doesn't need everything to go right. He just needs like half the things to go right, and then this will be the best team in the league, I think, without a
Right.
doubt, just because the star power he has and a little bit of the depth and just like I like how he filled out his bench with upside plays. Like there's a lot of teams, I don't think I talked about this in some segments, but like you look at teams like Chris, teams like Phil, teams like Dex, where like you look at their bench and they're just like blah guys. You're Ryan O'Hearns, I'm not excited about. Chad has exciting players like Bubba Chandler and young players, Chase DeLauder on his bench, who could be something special that probably won't be, but you don't really need them to. They're bench players for a reason. You're not
Yeah.
actively, you don't need them in your lineup until you
A lot of
do.
upside for his team.
So, and Peter kind of takes that approach too. I like Peter's depth of actually a little bit more than some others, but Peter likes to take the upside guys, which is what I want on a bench. I want upside on the bench. I don't want stability. That's what the lineup's for.
At we're at 4 now, right?
Yep.
At 4, I have Chris. I think Chris. It's actually surprised me. Honestly, when I was doing these rankings, I thought I'd have Chris like around 8 or 9, and then I kept
Yeah,
looking at his team. I kept looking at other teams. Looked at his
I
team again.
agree.
Looked at other teams, and I'm like, man, you know what? I really do think this is one of the top 6 teams for a guy we kind of give a little shit to for not being. I don't want to say active, but not really like being active in the trade market or maybe getting in too late, which was I think the trade deadline situation last year. If you remember last year, a lot of people traded their big keeper pieces or their big deadline pieces in like late June, early July. By
Yeah.
the time he really got going, it was like, dude, you're kind of too late to the party here. But he's done a
Yeah.
really good job of matching this team around, working it around. I got him at 4. I really like his team.
You got him at four. I got him at three. Yeah, it's one of those things where I just kept looking at it being like, yeah, there's not really a lot of big gaps here. And what we see here, I like what we have in front of us. It kind of offers a little bit of everything. The pitching staff is really formidable. One of the best, if not maybe the best pitching staff, kind of up there with Phil and you and myself. So I really kind of like what I see out of Chris's team here. And yeah, just I didn't really leave the draft. I didn't go into the draft thinking Chris had a good team. I didn't really leave the draft thinking, oh, Chris really knocked it out of the park there. But like this is kind of one of those differences where it's just like, yeah, but it just kind of came together in a way that just makes roster sense. And it doesn't necessarily mean like I might even say that there's teams here that like have like Chad, even though he's lower in the power ranking, Chad's got a higher chance of winning the league, I think, than Chris's team does, just
Yeah.
because of the upside that some of the teams offer. Tyler's kind of there as well, but I'm not going to say that. I don't know if I'll go as far to say Tyler has a higher chance of winning the league as Chris. I think that Chris is still going to be better there, but yeah, I really like what this team has to offer. So I think he did a well job. And he wasn't really one of our. We don't think we brought him up much at all as like guys that he picked up in the draft, or even like as a team that were like, man, this team really took a leap. But this was our big leap by far of like how we felt about the team before and after the draft.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think Chris's team's really solid. At 3, I do have myself. Like I said, I don't want to put myself too high and look like an idiot there, but I do think I have a pretty well-rounded team. Things could go wrong. Like I said, I mean, there always seems to be. I get like out of the 12, what is there, 12, no, 10 categories. Out of the 10 categories, I always seem like I do really well in 7 or 8 of them, and then 2 of them really drag me down. Not where I'm like at 1 or 2 points, but ERA and, or was it whip, and I forget what it was last year. My team was fine. Even my roster looked fine, and then my whip was awful. My quality starts, I think it was absolutely awful. So there's
Yep.
always 2 categories I really just seem to really struggle in, where I just can't quite get over the hump. But I got myself at 3.
I have you at number two. I feel like the offense is going to be a weapon. It's going to be great. The pitching has my concerns about ERA and WHIP, but I think you'll be up there in strikeouts, and I think that your pitchers will go deep enough into games to get you kind of some of those quality starts, some of those strikeouts, and they could be good. For the most part, they're relatively stable, and so it's not like I have like necessarily question marks about the overall upside of the rotation. I think like it's good. It's just a matter of like if they all hit, is it going to be good enough? Is really my question to just be like the top or one of the top pitching staffs, because I think even like the best outcomes for like Logan Webb and stuff, it's still going to be like a 1.2 whip. So that's just kind of the one thing that holds me back about your team. But I think the offense will be really good once again.
Number 2, I have Dana. Like I said, I like his team quite a bit. I think his team's solid. I think it's got a lot going for it. It's really hard to beat the top of his rotation. And again, I think you can argue. I think there's 3 offenses in this league that I think you can make a case for number one, and his is one of them without question. He's just got star power up and down. Maybe not the superstar, but in terms of having guys in like that 30 to 50 range, I mean, we're talking like 5 guys he's got, and then obviously Yamamoto and Skubal, I think without question is the best 1 and 2 in the league. I know we have concerns after that, obviously with Pepio and Savage on the IL, but I don't think you get a better 1-2 than that and throw in a top 3 or 4 offense. I don't see any reason Dana shouldn't make the playoffs, but as we've said many, many times before, I think we both have liked his team the last couple of years, and it has not been in the playoffs.
Mhm. Yeah, which means we have the same number one.
We
Let
do.
me go. Let me go ahead and crack a few ribs here. Maybe
We'll roll it.
remove a couple ribs so I can suck myself off here a little bit here. So I do have me number one. I think on paper right now, I do like what my team has to offer, but like I understand that like it's not going to work out this way. I'm not going to be the best team all year. If it all works out, sure. But I think right now, as guys are healthy, which is going to be a big if. It's not, they're not going to be. I know that, but as it currently stands right now, heading into week one, I feel better about my team than any other team in this league.
Yeah, I got you at number one. I think you're solid up and down all the way around. I do think, like I said, I think and that's a good thing this year is I do think every team does have a little bit of like at least a caution flag up. Again,
Mhm.
you got a lot of age on your team. You have a lot
Yep.
of proven guys that have done it before. But if for some reason a Sale and DeGrom go down, which again there is a realm where that does happen.
It's like not
uh,
if, but when.
yeah, there is a realm where that happens. I do worry about the rest of that. But again,
Mhm.
we talk about track records with owners. You'll find a way, and you always have found a way. I mean, there's been years where I haven't liked your football team, and you've made the playoffs every single season. So if there was a bet of who's at least going to make the playoffs bare minimum, without even looking at a roster, I think you'd have to have the best odds in
Mhm.
regards to that. So I think top down, again, you also have a top three, top four offense. Obviously, with the pitching staff, if it stays healthy, Fried, DeGrom, and Sale, you don't really get a whole much better than that. So overall, I don't see why you would not be team. And again, probably the best closer in baseball. I know he didn't close the second half last year, given the situation, but Mason Miller is an absolute stud. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think your team top to bottom is probably the most well-rounded. And again, we talk about you making trades or having to make your team better. Even if a Fried or a Sale did go down in June or July, that's not ideal. But you do have a Shane Bieber coming back. You do have a Schwallenbach coming back around that time where it almost is like a trade deadline acquisition at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, I can get Bieber back in about a month because the back end of my rotation, I don't feel the best about. We'll see what I get out of Baz and Ryan Nelson and Abe McAble and stuff while they're in the rotation. But yeah, just gotta tread water and see if I can keep this train on the rails here.
Oh yeah.
Because they're going to be dropping like flies sooner rather than later. So yeah, kind of love that. So why don't you go ahead and you recap your 14 to one or whatever order you want to go.
Sure. In 14, Tyler, 13, Jordan, 12, Krim, both Jordans right next to each other. They'll love that. 11, Phil, 10, Peter, 9, Dex, 8, Bryce, Spelly, 7. So these next 6 would technically be my playoff predictions. Like I said, I do think 8, 9, and 10, even 11, I would argue would still be in that case. But my top 6 official playoff predictions are Justin at 6, Chad at 5, Chris at 4, myself at 3, Dana at 2, and Kyle at 1.
Alrighty. I am going to go with I'll give my rankings. So I have we'll go back 14-1. So at the bottom, Krim, then Jordan, Tyler, Dex, Bryce, Justin, Peter, Matt, Phil, Dana, Chad, Chris, Eric, and myself, number one. Do you want to make any changes to your playoff predictions? Are you rolling with that top six?
No, I'm going to roll with that top 6. That's kind of what I've done in the past, and it's worked out well. I know the playoff format's changed a little bit this year, but I don't really see that in impacting too many things. I think I got 5 out of 6 right the last couple of years, so I'm pretty confident. But again, who knows? I mean, like I said, we got a whole year of trades to be done. We got a whole, I think last year, I don't remember the exact count. I think we had over 70 in-season trades or something like that, which is absolutely awesome. That is insane. So I'm sure by the time we look back on this, hopefully we can get around doing this every 4 to 6 weeks around, maybe try to get a monthly one in or at least a month and a half in each podcast. So I'm sure by the time we do this next time, we'll have some fun trades to talk about. I'm always curious at the overreactions.
Mhm.
Baseball is a sport you cannot overreact to. You can overreact to a running back not getting touches week one. You can overreact to, whatever it might be. But when it comes to baseball, it is a marathon, it is a 162 game season, and there are teams that will freak out after 2 or 3 weeks and sell off on guys that are struggling or doing whatever. And I know you're one of those vultures. You want to pounce on those guys. You want to
I
get
know what
those
you're talking
guys,
about.
yeah, that are struggling that are going to turn it around. I mean, I remember I got a Kyle Schwarber in May in one year. I got Jose Ramirez at the end of April one year. So I'm really curious to see the overreactions. I mean, we've already seen it. Logan Webb got blown up yesterday. Oh my God, he sucks, right?
Yep.
So I
The
mean,
worst.
like I said, it's such a long season, and I don't want to discourage trading, but I do want teams to just kind of maybe put the
How dare you?
brakes on a little bit before they really just decide to throw caution to the wind.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a few changes, not to my power rankings, but to my playoff predictions, just because I do think that there's some teams that have some juice here. So I'm gonna go for my playoff predictions. I'm gonna say that I think that Chris wins the National League here. I think Chris is gonna get that first round bye. And then it's tough to even find a team that would even win this bottom division here. I think that I did not do a very good job drafting these divisions as they currently stand because I feel like the National League is much better than the American League as we sit here. So if somebody has to win the American League, I'm going to say it's going to be Chad. And then after that, I guess I'll have to give it to the next best. I'll give it to Phil. And then I'm going to say the other four playoff teams are going to come from the National League. I'm gonna bump Dana from it. Doesn't have the track record of managing it to the finish line, and somebody's got to get bumped because I think that Chris will win the division, followed by you and I will make the playoffs, and then I'm gonna say here, well, where am I looking at here? Um, oh, I'm in between Tyler. I'm in between Tyler and Justin here. But I'll give it to Justin because
Okay.
I think that Tyler's team has the potential, but it's a low potential. So I think it could make a run, but
It's kind of
uh,
interesting looking at the division structure because Justin, you, Chris, and myself are all in the top 6 on my rankings. So we have
mhm.
4 out of the top 6
Yep.
on my rankings in the top 6 in one division. And then the only team I believe in the top 6 on the other side is Dana. Oh, Chad, Dana and Chad.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think Dana and Chad easily make it on that side. And it's just a matter of who the next one is after that. If
Yeah.
any more make it after that. Yeah.
All righty. Well, I think that just about does it. I don't think there's any more dragging us out. I say we go enjoy watching some baseball. Maybe I'll
Like,
go,
yeah, right
check
on
in on
time,
some
right?
students, see how the student teacher's doing, kind of thing. But until next time, I think I might end up posting playoff predictions and maybe some bold takes as well. Maybe in the chat later today. We'll kind of see how the rest of the day goes.
Heck yeah, sounds good. Like
All right.
MLB playoff predictions?
What's that?
You talking like MLB playoff predictions?
No, just bold takes for
Oh,
fantasy
okay.
bold takes like
I
that.
got you.
Roman Anthony isn't a top 100 player and all that kind of stuff.
Heck yeah.
So,
Ride it while you can. Yeah,
yeah.
you dug yourself deep on that one. Might as well keep going.
All right. Eric, thank you for joining me. Till next time.
Oh, yes.
Uh, it's been fun. It's been real. It's been good. It's been real good.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck.
You too, man.